Hey guys, welcome back to Healthy and Happy. So glad you're joining me again. Thank you so much for all of your positive feedback, for your comments, for subscribing, and also giving me a like when you like the content. Let's keep that fun going. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're interested in what's coming up next, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button, give me a like on the content you do like, and comment down below. So today we have a professional meal prepper. He's going to walk us through how to meal prep in our own kitchens. So stay tuned for that. And then we're also going to have, in a couple of following episodes, a certified CrossFit trainer who's going to walk us through 2 exceptional workouts. And then following that, finally, we kick off the Professional Athlete Series with a former NFLer who I know you're going to enjoy meeting and learning a little bit about his journey, the way he stays healthy and happy in his everyday life. And then stay tuned for some fun workouts that will come in episode 2 with him as well. So let's go. Hey, Mitch,
Perfect.
thanks for joining me on Healthy and Happy. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I know we're going to get into talking a little bit about a couple of the businesses that you run and are a part of. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and, the work that you've done as a trainer and as a meal prep business?
Yeah, definitely. So I've been a CrossFit trainer and a personal trainer up at CrossFit Aggieland for over 4 years now, even starting back when I was in school. And then I started the meal prep company, Meal Prep Solutions, a little under a year ago. So we've been serving the Bryan College Station area for a little bit under a year.
That's awesome. And it's true that you are a graduate of Texas A&M, correct?
Yes, yes.
I'm sure we're going to have a lot of folks watching that are going to appreciate that.
Yeah. Unless they went to UT or something.
This is true. I do have those as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you into really living the lifestyle of healthy eating and fitness?
Yeah, definitely. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in kinesiology, and I had a focus in applied exercise physiology at A&M. A bunch of big words, but basically just means I studied the science of human movement and exercise. So of course, in that degree path, I learned a lot about physiology and anatomy and kind of how the body reacts to exercise and different training methods. And so I developed a lot of my base knowledge on exercise programming and nutrition in those years in school. As to what I've done specifically in my line of work, I work as a personal trainer doing one-on-one sessions with clients. And I'm also a group instructor up at the gym. We do CrossFit classes. And I also write a lot of individualized exercise and nutrition programs for various clients, as well as program for the CrossFit gym as a whole. So I've been able to build a lot of experience in writing workouts and building programs for all different types of people with different goals and focuses.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay. So Mitch, what are some items that an individual who's kind of getting into fitness and healthy eating, what should they know right out of the gate moving forward?
Yeah. So I think my biggest thing when people decide to kind of change their habits as far as exercise and nutrition is that they focus on consistency rather than making, big, large sweeping changes that they can't or won't maintain.
Amen.
I think exactly. I think a lot of people want to kind of overhaul their entire lifestyle all at once because they get struck with some kind of goal or motivation for whatever reason. Maybe they watch an episode of Happy and Healthy. They all of a sudden are like, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to change my entire life. But I think it's important to remember that the goal of exercise and nutrition is to change your entire lifestyle, not to lose 15 pounds in a couple months and then gain it all back a few months later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's more broad scope, but I think it's important to remember that those small changes are easier to implement and they'll typically have a more long lasting effect.
Yeah. If you can just take those little pieces day by day versus kind of just swallowing it all whole, if you will. It's just too much sometimes. And I think people, they're like, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get on a plan to eat right. And then it's all too much for them. And then they just quit. So I'm sure
Exactly. Definitely.
So yeah,
definitely
overwhelming.
Yeah. I think it can be too overwhelming. But some of those more actionable items that they can implement, a couple of those changes that you could see is something like eating fresh, non-processed foods. So try to shop on the outside of the grocery store, spend a lot of time in the meats and the produce section and a lot less time in those snack and chip aisles.
That's right. Don't waste your time on the interior.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you're going for like rice or something.
Yes. Maybe some seasoning, maybe.
Yeah, you can get some seasoning for your chicken. And then I think focusing on controlling portions, not overeating past when you're full or undereating to try to lose weight, especially when you're new. Most of the time, your body's going to tell you when it's time to eat and when it's time to stop eating. There's hormones in the body that make us feel hungry or feel full. So I think it's important to listen to what your body tells you, especially if you don't already have your nutrition, and your macros dialed in, haven't been doing it for a really long time.
That's right. Like you.
Yeah,
You know
well,
what you're doing.
I like to hope so.
We hope so.
Yeah. And then I think it's important to know what your goals are. So making change and then make changes that will feed that goal. So obviously someone who wants to gain 10 pounds is going to make different changes than someone who wants to lose 20. But if you don't set that goal beforehand, you're not going to know what direction you're headed to make the right changes moving forward. And then as for exercise, I think the most important thing when you're starting is just making it to the gym, exercising at all.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 2 to 3 days a week, just beginning to build that habit is the most important thing.
Absolutely.
Of course, everyone at different stages is going to, have different amounts of exercise that they need. But a lot of people, like you said, they hop in, they want to exercise, 6-7 days a week.
Yeah.
And
they
then
need to be in boot camp all of a sudden. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they last, 2 weeks and they get injured or they just get too tired out and they stop waking up. So I think the biggest thing when it comes to every aspect of life, when it comes to health and wellness, is just building that consistency.
I agree with you.
Mitch, what would you say that your clients feel are your points of difference when it comes to working with your specific meal prep company?
Yeah, so all of our meals are made with, totally fresh ingredients. We literally buy the food on Friday and then cook it all up on Sunday mornings. The meals are really affordable and the portions are pretty big too, between 400 to 500 calories a meal. A lot of times if you get some other pre-made meals, they'll be like 300 calories and you're paying like $12 a meal. So you're not really getting the bang for the buck. Even if you're only going to eat half of one of the meals, at least you have more food for what you're paying. Yeah, and then we also break down all the macronutrients, which is, if for those of you that don't know macros, it's your fat, protein, and carbs in each meal. We break all that down on our site. So if you're someone who counts their macros and wants to know exactly what they're taking in with each meal, which would be our more advanced health and wellness people, it's all there for you. So I like to think we're basically, everything someone would need out of their meal prep. They just don't have to cook it themselves or buy their groceries, which is the part that makes you not do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really is a big undertaking when, especially, when I got into my health and wellness journey, I'd gone so many years being healthy and fit, and then, life happened and now I'm back. And so when you jump back, you're like, gosh, there's 550 million different ways to look at, what your body should do to calculate for food intake versus energy output, or, vice versa, whatever you're looking at first, if you're the person that likes to work out more than eat right. And so, then you got to learn how to put them together. And it's such a tremendous undertaking when you just want to lose some weight or you want to put some weight on. And so simplifying through meal prepping, I think, is a great way to kind of start off.
Yeah, definitely. I think it all goes back to the consistency thing. If people look at starting to try to meal prep and then they see like this huge undertaking, or they have kids and they already have to cook meals for their family, and then they have to add on that I have to make, 7 days worth of food for myself too. It's like, then they just don't do it. So the easier you can make it, the better.
You're so right. You're so right.
So what are some of your go-to favorite meals that you plan and prep for your clients?
Yeah. So as for meals that we offer at Meal Prep Solutions, I really like the chicken stir fry, and we have another one, garlic chicken and Brussels sprouts. I'm a big chicken. Yeah, I'm a big chicken guy, so I like to eat a lot of chicken. And then a lot of my clients like the ground turkey enchiladas, fish tacos, just because they're easy and they're really tasty too.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, I know that after, we kind of wrap up today, we're going to be posting a video of you really kind of doing an in-home demonstration of how to meal prep versus in a commercial kitchen. So we can start to learn how to use, the utensils and the appliances in our own kitchens to kind of follow, your path. And so, before we kind of get to that video, is there anything else that we'd like to tell viewers about meal prepping and getting ready to take on this endeavor?
Yeah, I mean, so that's just for like an overview. Basically, you just kind of start by deciding, the 2 to 3 meals you want to cook for the week. A lot of people, they'll try to eat something different every day, but when you're meal prepping, it's really hard because then you got to cook, 12 different meals in one day. Uh, so I try to pick 2 or 3 meals that I'm going to eat, and that'll be, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner for Monday through
Awesome.
Friday or Monday through Thursday. I don't always cook them for the weekends just because people, you don't always stick to your schedule on the weekends, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. We'll hear you.
But that does require some math to figure out kind of how much you need to buy for the week and stuff like that. And that's probably something we could, spend a whole nother video on and kind of show how to plan out a week of food and get groceries. But we are going to show y'all how to go through making one specific meal, the chicken stir fry, coming up here.
Awesome. And will you be making that recipe available to viewers?
Yes, yeah, we'll have it all listed out, how much you need of each ingredient, how to cook it, actually listed out there, as well as it'll all be shown in video, kind of how that process goes down.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We're looking forward to your video coming up next. So for you on Healthy and Happy that are viewing this video on meal prepping, be sure to check out Mitch's company. The links are going to be down below, and they'll also be across the screen as his video plays. Check him out, and if you have any questions, certainly check out his YouTube channel, which we'll link down below as well. And if you have any other questions of me, you know how to contact me, but it's typically comment down below or at durantconsulting@gmail.com. Have a great day. Oh yeah, Mitch, be sure to tell the Healthy and Happy audience about the promo code, and then also what you're doing for area first responders or frontline workers.
Yeah, definitely. So we're doing a code. It's at home is the code, ATHOME. And with that, customers will get 1 free meal when they order 5 or more meals. And then they'll also get free delivery, and that's to the Bryan College Station area. And with that, for every meal that gets ordered using that promo code, we're actually going to donate a meal to a local hospital staff as they're helping fight the COVID-19 pandemic going on right now.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. I'm sure you're going to hear from a lot of folks in the area.
We hope so. I mean, we appreciate all the work they're putting through. We know that they're, short on protective equipment and all that stuff. So hopefully anything we can do to kind of brighten their day and make their day a little bit easier is
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you.
Of course, here to help. Here are the ingredients for the chicken stir fry that I'm going to walk y'all through today. First thing we're going to do is rinse off all of our produce, our zucchini and our squash. Then we're going to chop our onions. I usually chop the ends off, peel that outer layer off, which can be a little bit tricky sometimes. And then we're going to chop it in half, and we're going to take out the rougher middle portions just because we don't really like those when we cook them down. Then we're going to slice them real thin, and then we're going to chop across the other way so we have these little diced cubes of onion. And then we're going to add them into our pan to be sauteed. Next we're going to chop our zucchini very similar way. We're going to take the ends off, cut it down the middle, chop it into 3 long pieces, and then chop it down real small into diced cubes, kind of the same way we did the onions. We'll do the same thing with the squash, and then we'll add it into our pan to be sauteed. Next is our mushrooms. I usually cook these separately just because they need a little bit more time than the zucchini, squash, and onions. So I'll put those in their own separate pan. Then we're going to add a little bit of olive oil to the veggies and the mushrooms as well. And then we're going to put plenty of salt and pepper in each one just to taste it. And then I'm going to put these on high, 7 to 8 out of 10, and then stir them up real good. And let those kind of simmer and start sauteing. Next is our rice. I typically like to use jasmine rice just because it's my favorite the way it ends up after it's cooked. Every rice is different. If you're using brown or white rice, it's going to need different amounts of water. I usually do about a 1-to-1 ratio, a little bit extra. So right here I'm doing 3 cups of rice and then 3.5 about cups of water. If you have a rice cooker, I would definitely just go ahead and use that. But I like to show how you can make it in a pot as well, for those of y'all that don't have a rice cooker. Then we're going to chop the fat off of our chicken here. I don't really like a lot of excess fat on my chicken when I cook it. And we're going to throw all of that chicken up on the grill. I usually like to put it sideways. It makes it a little bit easier if they get stuck to the grate. You can kind of scrape it up with your spatula or your tongs a little bit better that way. And then we'll add some salt and pepper to each one, plenty of salt and pepper just to taste it. And then we'll close that grill and kind of let those cook up for a little while. We're going to stir our rice. Once we get that rice up to a boil, we're going to turn it down to low, put it on simmer, and put a lid on it. Then we're going to flip that chicken breast over. Make sure we're getting it nice and cooked on both sides pretty evenly. And we'll give it a little bit more time after we do that, put a little bit more salt and pepper on the other side as well. Check our veggies, make sure that they're cooking up nice, stir them up. Once those mushrooms are all cooked, I'll combine them with the other veggies, stir them together, and then we'll add some soy sauce to taste. You can put plenty of soy sauce in there, give it some flavor, those veggies. Now we're going to check our chicken. We want that chicken to be cooked to 165 degrees in the thickest part. So always make sure you check the thickest part of the chicken, because obviously that takes a little bit longer to cook. And then we're going to check our rice. This is what your finished product should look like, all nice and soft. And then lastly, now that we have that chicken all cooked up, we're going to chop it down real small so it mixes in well with our chicken and rice, as you can see. And then we're going to plate it all into our Tupperware. So we're going to do about a cup of rice, which comes out to 160 grams. Weighing it's a little bit more accurate than going out of just the cup. And then for our veggies, we'll do about a cup. We don't have to be quite as accurate with those. You just want roughly a cup. And then we'll weigh out our chicken. We're going to zero that scale out and add our chicken back on. Somewhere between 4 and 5 ounces of chicken for this meal. We do 4.5 in our Meal Prep Solutions meal. And then lastly, we're just going to add in a tablespoon of soy sauce to taste. And voila, there's our finished chicken stir fry.
Wow, thanks so much, Mitch. That was great. We have learned so much so far about how to start meal prepping, and we look forward to your next episode where we'll learn a little bit more on how to get started and how to have a successful kind of meal prep routine. And then I'd like for you all to go and check Mitch out. His social media links are below. He not only has a meal prep business, but he also has an overarching fitness and nutrition company called HEIN Health. And that includes some pretty intense workouts and training you how to better maximize your nutrition and your workouts. So definitely check out Mitch. And thanks again for joining us on Healthy and Happy.